Hi guys, welcome to the channel.
I'm Richie.
And I am Timothy.
If you didn't know already. So we're not wrapped up like this for the sake of it. We are outside.
Pretty chilly.
Very, very chilly. Not just a bit, a lot bit.
We've also been trying to do this video for a real long time. So a few of you guys might have seen these, might have picked up on these guns and these particular builds in a few photos and bit that's been leaked, some of the game days that we've been doing. We have run these out. And we've been trying to get this video done for a little while.
So yeah, literally, as Tim just said, you may have noticed we do have completely different guns. Some of you may scoff and send us hate mail, but these are not scars. These are not scars.
These are not scars. And more importantly to that, these aren't Tokyo Maruis either.
They're not recoils, no. So, I know, shock horror, I can hear the gasps from everyone watching this already. So, where do we start? I guess, why have we gone for these? First of all, what are these?
These are VFCs. Mine is the Avalon Sabre.
Mine is the Avalon Rapier.
Again, from VFC, also known as Vega Force Company.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I've had a few VFCs in my time. Still own one.
I've had none.
You've had none.
I've had none.
But do you know what? It's they've been around a very, very long time, and reputations, like anything, they've been up, they've been down, but they've always been like a steady company that have churned out sort of pretty decent guns, right?
Yeah,
for the most part.
I think for me, that's always been that brand where people go, if you don't want to go to a TM or you don't want to spend that like extended amount of money, that a VFC is like a rivaling quality of build. Yeah,
it's a good, stable, it's a good quality. Like I say, it's not your bargain basement, it's not your top end sort of like premium recoil or Sistema, but they are, a good solid gun, that lots of people swear by. So anyway, these are VFCs. As you can see, they're very different, and I think, as you can probably tell, we picked these. This is very much a character building. Like, as far as Tim's is short and really angry, mine's long and grey.
There you go. Says it all about us.
That's it. No, but really, so I guess what we come down to the reason why we got these, I suppose.
I think that's what they're going to want to know. Yeah.
Why do we turn to the dark side and come away from recoils? Well, as everyone knows, our recoils, both mine and Tim's, they're super builds. They've been tricked out to the max, and give us a ballpark figure minus optics of that gun.
Somewhere around 1,800 quid without
1,700-1,800 pound.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of dough in anyone's like.
It is
pocket, right?
It is when we talk about other guns that are out there on the market.
Yeah.
And essentially what those guns do. I think me and you have had this discussion a ton of times. It's like, at the end of the day, you are hurling a very lightweight projectile out of the gun, right? And I completely understand this thing of like, if your gun does 330 and it's got a half decent barrel, does it matter what gun is producing that 330, right? And how consistently it does it and whatever. And I kind of get that argument, but the TMs for me up to this point, I think, have always been that staple thing. Like, it's always worked. I've never had problems with it. Bits don't just fall off or degrade. They've been really good.
We've run them hard.
Really hard. But at that point, me and you come under a lot of shit for spending that volume of cash on, we're saying, a gun that projects a BB at like a certain velocity.
It's a smooth round down a smooth bore. Yeah. Just how much can you tune and tweak these guns? Like what can you really get out of them? We've covered that in a lot of videos, I think. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we do get not a lot of flack, but we got a lot of questions. Like, oh, guys, what gun do you think I should buy first? And obviously, like, clearly, we're not going to go and buy a TM recoil, then get it fully upgraded. Absolutely not, because no one's going to want to drop that sort of money, when they're first starting out. So this is really where we come to this conclusion. So as Tim said, the recoils are a staple gun. We know exactly what they do and what they're capable of. That's why we go back to them time and time again. When we want consistency and reliability, that's what we turn to. Yeah. But, and this is going back before, the world of Milsim come crashing down, that was what would run out of Milsim. So they'd get a run out, once a month or once every 2 months? Yeah. But, on a good turn. So it's not your everyday car, right?
No, it's not.
You're not running this thing all day, all Sunday, every Sunday. Whereas that's what we wanted with this. We wanted something that wasn't going to break the bank.
Yeah.
To buy, also to upgrade. It wouldn't cost a fortune, but again, something that you can run out. Just run it into the ground, and when it breaks, just throw 30 quid's worth of parts in it, and you're good to go again.
Do you know what? I've never been so shocked as to just the huge difference in price with by the way, this is a V2 standard V2 gearbox in this gun, and I haven't done much gun upgrading myself. Early days in the channel, I swapped some bits out on a GMP, and I didn't realise just that the difference in cost between tricking out a V2 and then going into NGRS land, where everything seems to be like 5 times the price, and I didn't realise that. And I remember ringing you and being like, dude, I've just like totted up the parts to trick out the VFC, and it's like 46 quid including postage. Bearing in mind, dependent on where you shop, the piston head, or sorry, the cylinder head for the TM is 25 quid.
Yeah.
And I was like,
just alone.
Yeah.
So a massive jump, in parts, in availability as well. So yeah, this is where this is the whole thing about this video is we wanted to do, a project, right, where we can say to someone, okay, don't, if you haven't got £500 to spend on a gun, don't do it.
Yeah.
If you've got 290, somewhere about there, I think, depending where you buy these from, 280, 290, it will get you a nice solid gun, a really good quality gun that you can use straight off the bat. Likewise, as Tim said, if you want to upgrade it, which obviously you've done bits to yours already. I've done one thing to this, and one thing alone, which is just the motor. But again, that's what we'll cover in another video. But just to prove that you can buy a gun reasonably cheap. You can, for an extra sort of 30, 40, 50 pounds, throw some internals in it, and it will make a solid difference.
I think another thing that, not to give away any secrets, but these are not fresh out the box. These guns have been run out. Now, whether you guys have been around us when you've seen us running these, we've run them at a good few events now, completely standard. So I ran this out before I made any changes to it, and I was actually really impressed with it. Now, has it got that snap? Is it my SCAR build? Absolutely not. And I don't think we're here to say if you spend 300 quid on a VFC that you're going to get the same performance.
You're going to get a TM killer.
Yeah, then you're going to get something that, it breaks the back of 70 meters. No, but at the same time, this is incredibly accurate. It feeds well. The turnover for me does definitely feel a little bit slack, but that's because I've been so used to that like snap of the TM. But outside of that, it performs incredibly well. Just getting it out of the box, using it. I used it here in a day game. I've used it here in a night game. It was accurate. It was on point. It didn't miss a beat. Definitely a big swap for me in regards of the bolt catch. That for me on the TM is still one of my favourite things. The fact that there's no BB drop. If you don't run your mag completely dry and you pull your magazine out, you get this like
that's a bugbear, isn't it?
The BBs drop on the floor, and it is a bit of a bugbear. But outside of that, it's 300 odd quid gun. Now, yes, it's been dressed up with some bits, and I know you've spent a lot of time getting stuff for yours, but it sounds nice. It does sound nice
for something that runs on a 7. Well, sorry, you're running it.
I'm running it on a 7.4. I don't think I will, and I think me and you can talk about the reasoning for that. And also, TM, and in the TM sort of chain that I've gone down, it's always been run it on a 7.4. Because 11.1s aren't great in a TM because of the recoil mechanics. With this, they're designed and built really to be running on 11.1. So I'm probably not getting that snappiness that is potentially there in this gun.
Just need to sort of up the volts to sort of unlock that sort of trigger response,
extra little bit of snap of trigger response. But I think we have come under slack a lot, and let's just put it out there, that super build is fucking expensive. And I know there's shops out there and people that run shops out there, I won't say any names, that have had a massive grievance against that associated cost.
Yeah.
Now, me and you have also worked out that the actual parts, just compiling the parts, is expensive. It's the labour charge isn't any more or any less than most shops that are around, but the actual parts themselves are fucking expensive. And so many people have taken a big deal with that. You know, for the cost of the MOSFET and some internal parts, you can buy one of these.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that makes, you know, when we are bringing content to the channel, as you can tell, you know, bringing something new to the channel, I think that makes it more appealing for more people to go, well, actually, they're not just talking about 17, 1800 quid on a gun.
You know, it's another avenue where guys can go down, where they can get, you know, a good solid gun that performs well, not ballistically, but it performs well for a reasonable price. So, I mean, obviously, overall, thoughts from you on your one, because obviously, like, you know, build, how does it feel, how does it, you know, range, how does it run?
I'll be really honest, I was super impressed with just the look, the aesthetic and the overall build of this when I got it out of the box. Now, you know, VFC also do a shit ton of guns. You know, everything from your 416s all the way through to more, I don't know what you'd call this, modernist style builds, right? With the collapsible stock and the spring load stock, and, you know, the M-lock front, and, you know, and the fact that the barrels, you know, doesn't even pass the front of the handguard, things like that. Like, it's quite a modern build. I was really impressed with this. For one thing that jumps out to me, and even as I sat here I realised it, the grip itself is so narrow, and it just makes it feel so much more comfortable in the hand. I've been used to that, like, very deep scar grip that almost like backs up like you've got a tang, isn't it? Whereas with this, they do feel very narrow, and that makes the gun feel narrow. It makes it, I don't know, feel like it sits flatter slightly to the body. I love the fact that it's got some little trick bits on it. It's fully ambidextrous. It's got a mag catch on both sides. It's got your little QRS finger rest in there. Again, I like the shape of the flat face trigger, and they call it the lightning trigger. And I must admit, getting it out of the box and looking at it for the first time, I do really like it. Again, nice thing about this, it comes with a couple of different backs. You can put an absolute walloping battery in if you need to. So, you know, this gun itself, I am actually really happy with. Now, internally, and I'm pretty sure it's the same with your gun as well, they come with some trick parts in them completely out the box. So mine has a maple leaf barrel, bucking and hop, I think, as standard. It also has a built-in MOSFET as standard, and it's got metal teeth on the piston and a couple of other little bits in there that the Avalons, you know, come, you know, almost pre-energized out of the box.
Just that little bit tricked out from
just from standard. It's like a stage one in, like, tuning, car tuning terms, right?
I think, like, the Maple Leaf stuff internally is like, it's like Maple Leaf's base product, so it's not like their top end stuff, but it's still Maple Leaf. It's still going to be better than, say, your average
average VFC stuff. So I mean, I must admit, getting it out of the box, getting it dressed up, I was really happy with it. Now, obviously, we took these down to the quarry a little while back. I think we put a target out to about 45-50 meters, and it was making, say, you know, 4 in 5 contacts on that target. It was a little bit windy. It was still getting dialed in, admittedly, but it was reaching out to 50 meters fine. And I think, you know, we've all heard the airsoft distance, right? But if you say 50 meters out of a gun, I mean, it's decent. I mean, it's pretty much the length of the sight we're on, right?
Exactly.
You know, 50 meters is more than enough. What about you? I mean, your experience was very different from mine.
Very different. So so Tim's experience with these VFCs and mine were literally like day and night. So I got this just because I love the look, I love the colour. I do love a long boy. You know, really nice to sort of punch out there. You know, even doing CQB. Anyone that says they can't do CQB with a long gun just isn't trying hard enough.
Must try harder.
Must try harder. See me after school. But no, so when I got this out of the box, I was like, wow, this feels nice. You know, no wobble. Same as Tim. The triggers the grip's nice. The lightning trigger, full ambi controls as well. This is key mod, so a little bit more old school. But, you know, I just love the look of the gun. Even the flash hider is quite nice, very comp looking. Again, the crane stock slightly thinner than your old school sort of crane stock,
so a little bit, it's quite narrow.
Yeah, a little bit slimmer, so quite nice. But unfortunately, that's where the good stuff stops. So first thing I noticed, I got it out. I was like, wow, yeah, cool looking. And I looked at the end of the gun like this, not like this obviously, but down here, and the barrel was basically, if you drew a line down your RIS section, the barrel was off at an angle like this. It was bent. Like, sorry, the barrel wasn't bent, the barrel was sitting off, so it wasn't seated right in the bottom here. So we tried moving it, getting it done. Anyway, we had to basically just strip it all down, recenter the barrel, rebuild the gun again. So that was issue number one. Issue number two is, like Tim said, we went down to the quarry.
Yep.
Tim got this one out, slapped a mag in, yeah, just 50 meters, nice,
sailing,
a nice true little lift at the end.
Yeah.
I'd say sort of 50 meters was just reaching the end of it, sort of
probably at the end of its legs,
just getting there, but still, like I say, 50 meters is pretty good in your average sort of skirmish field, which is what these are for. So likewise, as Tim said, this does have a MOSFET in it, but when I say a MOSFET, it's real basic, like, so I actually took it apart and ripped it out. It's a basic sort of battery protection with a tiny little blade fuse in there, which does mean you only can put the tiniest little little stick battery in here, very, very small, something like a 1100, I think, maybe. No bigger than that. So got rid of that, and obviously converted it back to Dean's, so I could run this on 11.1. Yeah. But before that, obviously, I was running it on 7.4, tiny little 7.4 in there, put a mag in at the quarry, putting rounds down, and yeah, obviously, as you do, the hop's completely off from the box, right? Yeah. So started dialing the hop up, click at a time, and they would slowly start to lift, sort of, you're getting 20 meters, 25, and then at 25 meters, it just went poof, over hopped, and it would just drop to the floor. I was like, what? And then reset the hop, started again.
We tried everything.
And we was there, I don't know how many times I did that, hoping that it might work, but it just didn't work.
No.
So, eventually got it chronoed. It was doing 250.
I think it might have even been slightly less than that.
Slightly less than that.
It wasn't, it definitely wasn't throwing out what it should have been.
No, so it had a massive air seal issue somewhere in here. So again, that got addressed with a few new parts. Managed to get it up to sort of 290. So again, it's fine. You don't have to be pushing the boundary. Right. You don't have to bang on 370. But if you do want to start getting those ranges, 330, 340s.
Yeah, it's probably about where you want to be.
Is good, But again, so that is another thing we're working on. I've got to about 290. But again, I want to try and run this as stock as possible. Yeah. To really get a feel of what it was like for that, what you're getting for your £290. Firing then, actually pulling the trigger response, the turnover time, again, it was terrible. Yeah. Like you pull the trigger, zadunk.
And I think that's the 7.4s. I really am going to think it's the 7.4s.
Well, when I took the motor out, the motor it's basic, mate. It's just black. It's got no writing on it. Yeah. It literally looks like like you could get it from Aldi, like £2.50, really cheap motor. So that's another thing that was a real shame. So, but I was really disappointed. But don't let that put you off. I just think that, like anything in life, you get one that's built on a Friday afternoon.
Bad build,
Bad build, and it is what it is. Other than that, I do really love the gun. So won't go into too much what I've done to it, because obviously I want to cover that in another video. But I just wanted to prove that with one simple upgrade, you could literally transform this gun. Sorry, two simple upgrades. That is a Dean's connector on the back. So you remove your LiPo, your battery protection, move your little MOSFET, wire it to Dean's, and swap the motor for a Warhead. This isn't the Warhead Ultra, this is the Warhead Standard.
These things are wild.
Yeah. So the Warhead is, obviously, those of you who don't know, is a brushless motor. So the response is insane. Yeah. And I will be honest, I've run this out 2 games now, I think, with literally changing the motor, Dean's connector to run 11.1 in there, and
it's something else.
You would think it's got a MOSFET in it. You really would.
Yeah. Really nice response.
Really nice response. So yes, there's still some work to be done on this to make it, run how I want it to run. But yeah, out the box, unfortunately,
it just wasn't. I mean,
it wasn't great. Yeah.
I think for both of us, we could have sat here and said, "Oh, do you know what? Let's just not talk about it. It was fine." I think we have to, and fortunately, I don't know many people that have had that, you know, guns out of the box that have actually been bad, and genuinely, you know, we've spoke to a lot of people. We know a lot of people that have run all sorts of different guns, and it is quite rare to have that. In this case, we did, but I mean the problem's been rectified. It's not, and
just to prove, just to prove that it was a bad Friday afternoon build, I even took this down to platoon stores to see Jim and Pete down there. So big shout to those guys, just to say, look, what do you think? You've had these in stock.
Yeah.
You know, they've sold quite a few of them. And he showed me one he took it off the wall, took me to the underground range indoors, put some rounds down on their one.
Yeah.
Sounded much crisper, sounded much like yours.
Right.
So I think it really is. So when you get an average VFC out of the box, this is what you're getting. Yeah. So try not to be put off by this. I think I did just unfortunately get a bad egg.
I know. I think that there's always going to become that criticism of, you know, and we had it when we ran out AEGs a while back, and I ran out the MP5, the Sabre MP5, and you ran out an AG, and people were like, oh, what's going on? You know, what's the deal?
Are YouTube broke?
Yeah. We had to sell the guns. You know, I think there is always that like shock and awe.
Yeah.
I love the TM brand. I really do. Their guns are just got to the point where they are boring. Just boring to me. There's nothing in that lineup that has any sort of desire at all. Like, I don't want to do an L11, whatever they're called, and be on that fanboy hype train. You know, I've had a 416, I've had a H, I've had an L. You know, there's nothing other than that I look towards them. Even the Deltas and stuff when they come out, and the MTRs and the MWSs, like, none of it really turns anything for me. And yeah, I could probably build a similar gun build shape to this. On an MWS platform. I get that, put an M-lock front, and you know, because of the gas mechanics, you could put pretty much any stock on one of them you want.
Absolutely,
right? I get that, but it just didn't seem like a viable thing to do. And then when I remember me and you pinging each other some guns back and forth, I saw this and I thought, it's 300 quid. Like, it felt, you know, cheap. It felt like it, you know, it didn't feel like, oh my god, you know, this is a 600 quid gun with, you know, 600 quid to spend.
Some people will spend that on a Milsim weekend.
Like, they will, and not do anything.
Bing bong.
Now, I know that people are going to have mixed opinions on, you know, jumping and deviating away from this.
Yeah.
Richie gave me an analogy a while back when I'd said about running my SCAR, and I think I had taken it to an Airsoft day somewhere. I can't remember where, but we played somewhere, and I sort of said, you know, I feel like it's overkill taking my SCAR to this type of event. And you said to me, you know, race car for race days, and you know, a bit of a basher for going and cutting around events like this. And it really resonated with me that I needed at that point to sort of establish some other guns, and for me, this is the one that will get beaten a little bit, you know, and run. You know, my SCAR has been through everything, much like yours.
They've got a few marks and dings, haven't they?
They've got a few knocks and marks. They really have been through it. Also, you know, we have Milsim them when I mean, that term in itself is horrible, but we have, and at the same time, we've also taken them to the what's it called, the black site, and I can't even think of the place we've been, the Invicta black site place. We also took it to the one in the high street, the old Marks and Spencers. We ran the SCARs at the Echelon. You know, we've taken them all over the place, like to other events, and I'm just at that point where I actually think, you know, it's tucked under a bench, there's other things to go and play with.
Definitely, and like you say, you know, it's the whole thing of when something is so expensive to upgrade, you almost don't want to use it, but you're a bit more cautious about how you use it. I remember many years ago, and I hate to admit this on camera, but I did used to own a Systema. and I remember, okay, it was dying, it was playing up, it wouldn't fire.
Like all Systemas, you mean? Like every single Systema?
It was dry. It wasn't raining.
You literally have to cough on a Systema.
But it turns into ash.
Picking up those like brown wilted leaves in winter. The only thing that be left is your optic.
That's it. Just hold that and the hose just falls away. So it started playing around. So I've done some ringing around, and as most Systemas, the motor needed rewinding. And it was like £280 to get the motor rewound. I was like, "You what?
Yeah.
Are you serious?"
Yeah. I mean,
that's not even to touch on the fact that I swapped a BMW for a Sistema, but we'll talk about that another day.
That's a story that you need to hear over some beers.
But yeah, you know, when you look at that, the same as with the Scars, right? Scars, recoils in general.
Yeah.
You know, the motor's a little bit more expensive, parts of that a bit more expensive, because they're in such high demand. If you want them serviced or upgraded, normally there's a bit of a lead time. So, you know, it's just everything's so precious about them, which, like you say, that's fine if you're going to use them 4, 5, 6 times a year, you know, at specific events, you know, with the whole realism, bolt catch, whatever. But it's, mate, and we and Tim have spoke about this many a time. This here, we can throw in a bag with a handful of mags, boom, mags in, some batteries and some iPro, and we are good to go.
And I think looking at the state of where the scene is, and we've done other videos on this right now, that's what I want.
Yeah.
That, you know, oh, we're going to go to so, you know, we're heading up to Splatoon. Do you fancy going Sunday? All right, yeah, cool. I'll tell you what, I'll go Saturday afternoon. I don't have to spend ages planning stuff out, you know, sorting things. I grab one of these, I literally throw it in a bag. I've got a box of batteries, boom, iPro, some mags ready to go.
And literally, let's say worst case scenario, right? The thing absolutely shits itself and dies on the day. You go, what's it going to cost me?
Yeah.
I think, you know, if you want to...
£6 and some peanuts.
Some peanut dust. So, but again, you could probably go online and buy another V2 gearbox.
Yeah, like, for like 65 quid with a MOSFET.
With a MOSFET.
Mad.
So even if you said to you, I'm not going to bother opening the gearbox up, I'm not going to bother...
Just going to take the gearbox out and bin it.
Most people can drop the plate off, take the motor out, gearbox out, new gearbox in, done. That's it.
I mean, and that in itself is crazy. But if you are the more adventurous type and you do want to take it apart, if it's got a quick release spring system, exactly, and like
you pop the stop where you where
you want to go. But even then, like, you know, the parts that we've bought, the FPS parts, you know, we've used them obviously in the Scars. FPS do a load of parts for V2, V3s. And they're cheap as chips, and yet they are, you know, really high quality parts, if not the best parts that are out there on the market. So, you know, I think the full gun build for this, including shipping, was like 40 odd quid.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, let's be really honest, it's nothing compared to dropping money in a TM.
No.
You know, you're looking at 160 odd quid for a barrel. You're looking at, you know, and you could still put those, you know, that level of barrel and stuff in one of these, but I just don't think they need it.
No.
I mean, I've got the standard barrel in this. It's lovely. It cleans up beautifully. You know, the BBs have been lovely, nice and straight so far. You know, at some point I will have it apart and put these bits in. But I am really impressed with it. And at the same time, I'm not overtly precious.
No.
You know, I'm not going to be bothered.
I mean, I think so. As we've said, we've run these out completely stock. You know, good for both good and bad. We've done our little tweaks to them to get them sort of where we want at this stage, which, you know, I don't want to speak for Tim, but, you know, I'd happily run this out any given day.
Oh, absolutely,
because, you know, I'm happy where this is now with the trigger response and stuff. So, yes, there's probably more to come, but, you know, it really is, you know, the upgrades, where you want to stop with the upgrades is completely up to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're super happy with these. I think now it's going to be a case of standing the test of time, seeing how long things last, when something breaks, when something wears out. I guess that's when we'll really do another sort of video to sort of see
how they get on, mate. Give it a couple more months. I mean, we're in the dead of winter right now, it's cold, you know, and that puts a lot more pressure on the plastics and stuff like that, you know, they're more brittle. They will get run hard, you know. At the end of the day, I think that's a key point of the stuff that we have, whether it's the TMs, whether it's the nods, whether it's the other gear that we've got, you know, it gets used, and you know, we're not stood around, you know, crispy clean, you know, standing next to some beds. You know, we're out there pushing the gear and really, you know, getting on it. Like, you know, this place here, if you've played it Splatoon, you're up and down stairs, you're in and out of containers, it's tight, it's hard work, there's lots of corners to cover.
You're running down walls and stuff, catching your gun and your kit on doors.
They get bashed up, you know, and your kit gets pretty weathered here. So I think I'm really keen on continuing to run this. I must admit, I was really impressed with the quality of the build. Again, it feels a little bit lazy, but I'm going to swap it over to that 11.1 and we'll do a follow-up video. You know, at the end of the day, guys, if you can't afford to go and drop big dough on a TM, don't feel like there isn't other options out there, and don't feel like, you know, TM has to be the be all and end all of your airsoft and experience. You know, I'm really happy with this. Again, I can't say that it's the same as my Scar, but I am really impressed with it. And I think, much to like Richie's point, a few little tweaks, get brushless motor in there, run it on an 11.1, maybe a few other little trick bits on it. I think it's going to be, it'll be up there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, as we always say, you don't really want to solely rely on your kit, but there will come a point where your skill set overtakes your equipment, so then your equipment needs to keep up with you, right? But absolutely, mate, you know, a couple little bits in these, and I think they really will. Like I say, they won't be a TM killer, you know, but they'll definitely be out there, you know, and pushing some numbers on the range.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will keep you updated with these.
Absolutely.
There'll be lots of videos to come now. Obviously, we had this has been such a long time coming.
We've got a backlog.
Such a backlog of media, obviously, with us working on these. As you can see, dressing them up, just getting them how we want them. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. There'll be lots of media on these, and we'll try and keep you updated as to whether they go well.
Or if it goes horribly wrong. And
you know, one thing you can count on, as you've seen today, we will be honest. You know, there's if it's good, it's good. If it's shit, we'll tell you it's shit.
Absolutely.
So
there's loads more content back on the channel. If you haven't checked us out before, you can go and check that out on the heresygroup.com. Leave your comments below. Keen to hear your thoughts if you're running VFCs yourself, or if you've got any experience of running them, tricking them out, doing stuff to them. Always happy to hear you guys' feedback. Really enjoyed running this out. Looking forward to running it out a little bit more tomorrow, hopefully, when we're kicking about at Splatoon. Thanks for being so honest, mate, and giving us your view on it. You know, I know it's quite tough to talk through when it doesn't go to plan. But
it was a bit of a awkward silence ranged out the quarry when Tim's gun was like, "Yeah, this is really cool." I mean, it's all right.
I mean, it's because
while I was busting,
his mum was dead.
I was just fuming.
Right, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Cheers, and we'll speak to you soon.
Peace.
Right. Oh my God.